3, 2, 1. What is going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast brought to you by Steeliest. We are here today with my man, the heavyweight silverback gorilla? Silverback, Eric Iman. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. So we always get in, first thing I do is I go into the nickname, the Silverback. Where'd you get it? How'd you get it? Who gave it to you?
Well, like a lot of my fight career, it started out as a joke. I was training a lot and I was working out a lot, and I had a friend. There was a group of us that lived in a house out in Clinton, and we all trained together, and you know, we'd lift and just do day-to-day stuff, you know, just like roommates tend to do. Yeah. And there was a guy, his name was Gary Allen, and I used to call him the Silverback, right? He was like 5'6", 5'7". Yeah. You know, early 40s, but looked like he could tie rebar and knot. Yeah. So I started calling him Silverback. Well, then as a joke, I started on all my workout posts, I started putting hashtag Silverback status. So we were talking about nicknames, and the original nickname was D5W because because my wrestling was so bad I was Division 5. Okay. So got it. When it kind of developed, and we were talking about it around a barbecue or something, and I was like, yeah, I probably should change that. Nobody knows what it means. Yeah. And he said, you should go with Silverback. You've been tagging it, and you know, you're a giant, so yeah, I guess it makes sense. Okay, all right. Because I was wondering where it came from, because I can see where like something like Silverback would come in, but I would have put like the Kodiak or something like that. Like I would have put you more like a bear, like some sort of forest animal rather than a jungle animal. So I get it. So Gary Allen, are you talking about the famous country singer, or you just happen to have the same name? No, so Bo Buse Bo got me ready for about 8 fights that never happened when I was still trying to fight Muay Thai. And we all lived in the same house, and the hub was always Team Link, and we were training together all the time and stuff like that. So it was Gary and his son, Dakota. They lived at the house with us, and we just all trained together and stuff. So we were really pretty tight-knit family. It was like the Team Alpha Male kind of thing, where everyone lived in the same house, and you guys all trained together. And but you guys are all stand-up, not wrestlers. Right. Yeah. And Gary looked like he could bench, a bus. he always in shape, just always lifting hard. So he... I looked up to him that way because, he was in his early 40s at the time, but I mean, he put in as much work as the rest of us did. So, well, I mean, that was the one thing when I told Dom I was interviewing you today, and he was like, dude, talk to him about how he's getting into shape. Like and before, anybody who doesn't know, I mean, obviously nobody knows, me and you have already talked for like 2 hours. Yeah. So you got here, we just sat down and started talking, but we didn't get into that. We got into a little bit how you pretty much live strictly keto now, but your transformation just in the past, I don't even know, very short amount of time, like you're getting ripped. What's this? Where did that all stem from? Where did you decide, okay, now it's time to take this real serious? So, for a long time, I did a lot of work with Roy Gonzalez, Gonzo, a teammate of ours at Team Link, and he got me in good shape. Like, I was in good shape. Mm-hmm. I've never gassed out in a fight. I never even felt like I would gas out in a fight, and he worked me hard and taught me a lot of things. Mm-hmm. The real evolution of this for me was diet. Okay. So, it's easy to work out 2 days or 2 hours a day. It's hard to watch 100% of what you eat all the time. Yeah. And finding that balance of the right things to eat, the right times to eat. I intermittent fast every day. Mm-hmm. I just really got scientific about the diet over the last probably 9 months. And I've changed some of my workout strategy. I instead of doing strength and conditioning and then going over to do my skills training, I do my strength and conditioning in the morning before work. So I get, I go to Vasa now. So I go to Vasa at 5:30 in the morning. I work out for an hour. I go to work.
Yeah.
Then I go to Link at night and get my skills in. So, even at my age, there's a lot of volume of work that I maintain.
Yeah.
And, when in between fights, I'm still at the gym all the time. We got a pretty good group of guys that are staying active. So I'm still getting rounds in, holding pads, doing drills at night. But I've made sure that I maintain my morning strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
I run every morning, at least 20 minutes. I do a lot of sprint work, things like that. And I do a lot of high pace lifting, a lot of every minute on the minute things like that just keep my heart rate up for an hour.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, just dialing in the diet, it just kind of came together.
So have you noticed, because like you said, you never really gassed in a fight, that's not really a problem that you have, but I can notice in myself, like even like a 5-pound difference. When I'm 5 pounds heavier and I run, like I can still run for my amount of time, but it's a lot harder. And even in 5 pounds, I'm like, I feel a lot better in my run. Have you noticed that already in your training? That like you said, you've already got good cardio, but now it feels a lot better.
Yeah, the speed difference and things like that, you can definitely tell.
Yeah.
Dropping some body fat percentage. It's just good for all kinds of different health reasons. Yeah. But from a performance aspect, there's nothing like it. And when you kind of find your groove, I'm walking around right at 260, and you can start to see my abs now and things like that. So I put on a little bit of muscle, but I'm definitely leaner.
Yeah.
So really, I'm fighting at the same weight I always fought, just with the differences in what I've been doing strength and conditioning wise has made a big impact on my body composition.
Yeah. When I was at 260, I was nowhere near seeing my abs. There was not an ab. There was not an ab at 260.
There was a single ab?
Yeah, 5'9". At 5'9", there's no abs at 260, I can tell you that. But there's no abs at 200 at 5'9". So, that's, I wish I had your height.
It's not all it's cracked up to be, I promise. I hit my head on stuff all the time.
I could imagine. So before we go any further, you and I do have a little bit of beef we need to settle. It started yesterday on Facebook.
Yes, we do.
Are you really okay with throwing weights down?
Oh, no. I was kidding. If you can't control it, you shouldn't be lifting it. I was totally kidding.
I know. It's my number one. I cannot stand it. I have, it's actually a medical condition. Not a medical condition. But it's like I don't know what to call it, but it's an actual thing that like loud, abrupt noises cause me anger. Like if I'm in a big group, like if I'm like, so like if I'm at like a concert or something, I can expect it. I know that there's going to be loud, abrupt noises, so it doesn't bother me. But if I'm in somewhere where I'm not expecting, if I'm in a restaurant and all of a sudden someone drops dishes and it sends me into, like, I get angry. I don't know, like rageful, but I really get mad about it. So I'm at the gym and I'm sitting next to someone, they throw weights down next to me, it automatically makes me angry. Just a loud, abrupt noise. And so I cannot stand it. And so yeah, anyone who doesn't.
Maybe it's like a fight or flight thing, and your instinct is to fight, and it's a rapid change in environment. Yeah. So then it's, okay.
Yeah. It's, and like, so again, like if I'm at the mall and all of a sudden like some teenager yells something out loud, automatically I get like, I get mad. And so anybody who doesn't know, I said on Facebook yesterday, if you're dropping your weights, if you're throwing your weight down after your set, then it's too heavy for you. And and I knew you were joking when you were like, am I not supposed to do that? And yeah. And then I said that we were going to settle it today, and you said you're going to bring your mouthpiece. And I said, nah, we're going to wrestle because I'm not going to stand with you. But then I thought, you've been training with Bryce. I don't want to wrestle you either. So I'm just going to back down. You can throw your weights down if you want, because I don't want to wrestle you. I don't want to stand with you. I don't want to fight you.
It's ever improving evolution of myself.
And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about your camp. Everyone that you've got into your camp, getting you ready for this fight. Who's all there? Let's talk about, get all the names and the faces together.
So Fabio Sahau, he's the head coach. kind of the mastermind behind what we do prep-wise when I'm getting ready. And then on the other side, I do that for him when he's getting ready, because, a long time ago, we had the understanding that we can't get ourselves ready. We need somebody to coach us and dictate the things that we need to work on. So he kind of puts it all together. We've got Tiago, black belt under Fabio, always helping with ground. And there's some other things that Tiago does specifically that you may not think of, but he runs a lot of classes when Fabio's getting ready for a fight, or when Fabio's helping me get ready for a fight and things like that. He steps up and maintains the gym and the jiu-jitsu workouts, and he's doing a cross-training MMA workout every day and things like that. So he's really keeping the wheels going as far as the day-to-day operations of the gym. And as we get closer, he'll be getting some rounds with me too. Bryce Scanlon, good wrestler, heavy body, really takes the time to break things down for me, because I'm not a wrestler by nature. And it's like, it's like a silverback in water, I guess. But he's really helped me out and worked drills with me, takedowns, takedown defense, things like that. Things that, Fabio has always worked on me with, especially on the takedown defense side. But having that body and that pressure and that size is something that you can't duplicate. I got Coach Alex Reyna. He's my boxing coach. He comes in 3 days a week and, makes me shadow box until I feel like my arms are going to fall off. He really works on my hand speed and footwork. And Gabriel's been in there almost every day helping me just get back to some Muay Thai roots and some things that I trained for a long time that I think that I've drifted away from a little bit, being kick-centric and things like that. My kick's my best weapon, really. So just a great group of guys. Eric Munoz comes in and spars on occasion, and you've been in there with me a couple of times. Just a good group of guys that want to just help everybody succeed and get better, and it's invaluable when it comes to this. Yeah,
that's one thing that you and I talked about getting into this, and which I always want to promote is everybody stepping in to make everyone better. Everyone in this in these areas, even if you're traveling up from Salt Lake or whatever, like these gyms that are like, you're with us and you don't train anywhere else. That's tough, because you're only going to get as good as the guys that are in your gym. But if you really start letting other people in, you start training with other people, like you said, you let Bryce is coming in working with you, Eric's coming in working with you. We've all been in there. It's just going to show how the evolution of your game. How much better you've gotten. And you started out Muay Thai is where you started, right? You said you've been doing that for 16 years.
18
years, and you've only been doing MMA for 6 now?
6.
Okay, so how much is your ground game developed from when you started doing it to when you've kind of opened the door? Maybe Bryce has come in. Where have you seen the biggest jump in your ground game?
Definitely in my wrestling, primarily. I actually, before I started Muay Thai, I did jiu-jitsu for a year. Okay. So I kind of had a basic understanding of some really basic submissions and things like that. But when I got into Muay Thai, it was my love, and I just trained Muay Thai. I trained when I lived in California for about 5 years. I trained at Fairtex and George Satsui's gym. I actually trained at Frank Shamrock's gym for a little while. I gym hopped a little bit out there. I'd spend 6-8 months. I actually trained at Fairtex in San Francisco for 2 years. So I fought amateur out there, did a bunch of smokers and stuff like that. Kind of the usual stuff you do when you grow. Yeah. When I came back to Utah, I kept trying to get set up for a Muay Thai fight, and 8 fights never happened. The card fell apart, or the opponent backed out, or we were talking about it. I had a bolt go through my foot, and I couldn't fight. It was kind of one thing after another, and then I got offered an MMA fight, and I was like, I don't want to do that. Knowing that you can't play fighting. So I don't have the skill set for it. And Fabio said, well, work your ground, we'll get you right.
Yeah.
And I actually had a guy, Adrian Ramos, that used to train with us for a long time, and his wrestling's very good. And it was me and him in the cage every night working just takedown defense pretty much.
Yeah.
And, going to my back, getting to my feet, being able to use my hands and feet once I was there. And I kid you not, there was days they probably drugged me out of that cage because I was so exhausted and not used to the pace and the pressure that wrestling can bring on you.
Yeah.
So, I went out. My very first fight was against a guy from Westside Jiu-Jitsu who had good wrestling. Of course, he took me down. He actually broke my nose while we were on the ground. I took a shot around the side of the head, nose gushing, but I kept getting to my feet, and I knew he'd get tired. So finally, when he got tired, I threw 1-2 and knocked him out.
Yeah.
And it kind of came together, and it's been an evolution. I'm definitely working more on my wrestling offense now than I ever have with Bryce, because up till now it was pretty just defensively making sure that I wasn't getting taken down against the cage and things like that.
Yeah.
So I've definitely had a big growth over the last about a year working with Bryce, and Bryce is a great training partner. Me and him have the same mentality. We want to train hard.
Yeah.
We want to make sure it's controlled.
Yeah.
And, heavyweights hurt each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mentioned that with you earlier when we were talking is, when you and I sparred, we're definitely two different weight classes, and I was appreciative of you pulling your punches on me, but you also let me know where your hands are at. You also let me know, like, I got to keep my hands up, and it was very controlled. I felt very controlled in there with you, and I was able to work my wrestling on you, which I knew you were fighting a wrestler at that time, so I was able to, work taking shots on you, and that's what we were working on.
Well, and that's what the gym should be.
Yeah.
We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and, it definitely should be everybody in there, one common goal that everybody gets better.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be about me or have to be about you. It just, as high tide makes all the ships rise, and that's kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah. And if you're getting ready for a fight and you're fighting a wrestler and you knock out your partner, you don't work on your wrestling.
Yeah, because he don't come back.
Because I'm not. Yeah, I'm not coming back to work on wrestling if you're knocking me out. So.
Well, and I always think you can control. You can throw speed. And if you know your distance, you can do it in a manner that's not going to, give somebody brain damage.
Yeah.
And so I always try to keep my training partners honest, and they do it to me too. But it's always got to be under control.
Yeah.
Not to mention there's some striking accuracy that comes with that too.
Yeah.
If you know that you're going to hit him in the forehead, because that's generally a safe place to take a punch, then you can also know that you're going to aim for his nose or his chin or his ear or whatever it may be. So, there's a lot of different aspects. It's been a long time since I've sparred real hard. And I think if you ask most people, they'll tell you I spar soft. And I do, because I know I have power. That's not what I have to work on.
Yeah. Yeah. Your accuracy that's
speed,
it.
hand speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put a fast, accurate punch with the power that you have behind it. Anyone's going to sleep.
Absolutely.
Anyone's going to sleep. And you mentioned your leg, your kicks are your most powerful attribute. But I mean, the past couple fights I've seen you in, your boxing is just, I think it's very crisp. It looks clean. So I mean. I wouldn't want to step in. I was a heavyweight. I would be avoiding. I'd be avoiding that fight. Cause
that's that hats off to Coach Alex. He came in, and he talked to an old training partner of mine, and they came up together, and he watched me shadow box a little bit, which I was never big on shadow boxing before this. I did bag rounds, jump rope, standard Muay Thai stuff.
Yeah.
And not that Muay Thai guys don't shadow box, it just wasn't ever something I worked on.
Yeah.
And he made me move my feet and throw my hands in the air until I thought my arms were going to fall off. So for 2 weeks, I was sore as hell and couldn't understand why I was so sore, because I never actually hit anything because he wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
But he had a game plan, and he knew what I needed to work on, and he's really stepped up and made sure that where I need to grow stand-up wise is going in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hats off to him for figuring that out, because, it's so funny how many times we just skip the little things, just shadow boxing.
Yep.
Just something as simple as that, and we skip it because it's not power. It's not, it's whatever, for whatever reason we skip it, we do, and then just that little bit of thing can change your game.
And I every day now I shadow box at least 3 rounds to warm up. I jump rope, shadow box, and then we get into the work.
Yeah.
But when I'm shadow boxing, I can work on some things like hand speed and footwork that I don't necessarily drill as well on the pads or on the bag.
Yeah.
You can definitely work your speed and footwork with the pads, but I think a lot of people get into a routine where they're just throwing combinations. They're not moving. They're not concentrated on footwork and hand speed. They're just thinking about hitting the pad.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's something else I wanted to bring up. I wanted to commend you for, because I know it will mean the world to him throughout the rest of his life, but how much you keep your boy involved with what you're doing.
He has really worked hard over the last few months. He just graduated high school. That might make me sound old.
It's all right. We're all old. I'm old.
Well, yeah, and I'll be 41 this month. So, but Coach Alex has also taken him under his wing. He trained. About the time he was 5 until he was 8, we did pad work 4 times a week, And then he got into football and some other things and kind of lost focus on it. Well, he came up to me last year and said, "Dad, I think I need to fight." And I said, "I do not think you need to fight."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, I feel like I need to. I should try it." And I said, "Look, if it's something you're serious about and you want to move towards, then you do a camp with me. But I'm not going to take any excuses on being late, not showing up for workouts, not being at practice, not doing your drills. There won't be a compromise." And he did it. He did it. He missed a few days because he got sick, but I mean, he legitimately put the work in.
Yeah.
And then he did it again. So almost 12 weeks back to back, there was 2 days he was out of the gym or 3 days he was out of the gym. And to see him grow is much more rewarding than me.
Yeah.
Because I'm an old dog now, but not I pride myself on being coachable and learning, but this is my eclipse now, my sunset, and for him it's the start.
Yeah.
And he's 18, and if he keeps it up, I mean, when he's 22, he'll have every advantage I never had. He's got a good group of coaches. He's got a good group of guys that really care about him, and he could do anything he wants. Yeah. So, and there's lessons learned in the gym you can't learn anywhere else, and it's really rewarding to have him be part of it.
Yeah. I've thought about this. I was thinking about just the other day, how many people have said, like, fighting saved my life. I was doing this, I was growing up in a bad neighborhood, whatever, and I started fighting, and fighting saved my life. And I started thinking about why it's usually, or not only fighting, but just like training, boxing, any type of martial art. And why you don't really hear that with a lot of sports. You don't hear like, "Oh, football saved my life." For some people, when they make it to the big time, that you hear that, or basketball saved my life. But I think with martial arts, the one, because of the discipline, you have to learn to be disciplined in order to learn a martial art, and you're never going to perfect it, so you're always going to be working on it. The other is there's not a season. It doesn't end. You don't take time off. Like you don't get a whole season off and then come back and only do it for 4 months. You might take 2 weeks off, and then you're right back into it, working on it again. And I think there's something to be said with that. So for young kids to get into martial arts is way more beneficial than any other sport. Like,
I completely agree. Not to mention there's so many different paths to take to be good or well-rounded or just have an understanding.
Yeah.
And like you said, the discipline is the discipline about it means more, I think, to me, teaching him discipline, making him understand that, there's a process to this, and if you follow the process, you can be successful.
Yeah.
It's not magic.
Yeah.
It's just, and, I hear a lot of guys talk about the grind. Well, I had a post the other day where I said, one day I won't wake up and pack my gym bag to go to the gym to get ready for a fight. And that day may not be that far off. So it's not a grind because I get to do it.
Yeah.
I get to do this, and I get to do this with great people and my friends.
Yeah.
So it's, it's so gratifying on multiple fronts that if we're all in it together, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And things like strength and conditioning and diet and, yoga. We talked about yoga.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do yoga, and it's
awesome.
It'll be the very uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
But I do it twice a week, and I make sure I'm there. And knowing that if I skip those workouts, it will affect me down the road.
Yeah.
Not even in fighting, just in life.
Yeah.
So just knowing the discipline and the work that goes into it is, it's its own reward, because every time I go through this, I learn something else about myself.
Yeah.
So,
and I was just watching the interview today with Michelle Watterson, and she was talking about how we talk about how fighting is such a selfish sport. It is so selfish, but the fact that you're making your family a part of what you're doing, it makes it so it's not so selfish. Like now it's a thing that it's a part of your like what you guys are doing together, and then you surround yourself with good friends and good people, and so it's not so selfish. It's not something that is just you, and when you're done, it's that part of your life's over. Once you're done, you're now going to be helping out your friends. You're not going to be helping out your son. It doesn't have to end when you decide to hang them up. So, that's just a benefit to you. It's a benefit to everybody around you that you're making it just a part of everybody and
it's
everything
a community.
Around you.
Yeah, it's a community. And if he can learn some things that I learned later in life earlier, he just has that more advantage to life going forward. So it's definitely, watching him grow, it's been just so rewarding over the last 6 months. And you talk to anybody that's been in there with him, his hand speed's coming along nicely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, when he stepped away and played football, he went to the right sport, because football I think football is a great sport to transition into MMA. I think there's a lot of things you learn there, especially as a lineman. I'm guessing he was a lineman.
Yeah.
As a lineman, hand fighting, and then takedowns, tackling, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of benefits. So he when he stepped aside to play football, he didn't get himself that far out of MMA. That's my touch to it, because I grew up playing football, and I came into MMA I felt like it was a double leg takedown, that's a tackle. Yeah, I can do that. And so it transitioned pretty well. So you got their fight coming up June 28th against Mike Robinson. What do you know about him?
I don't know much. I've looked at his record. He hasn't fought in a while. Okay. He doesn't have a lot of cage time necessarily. His fights either end fast or, they just end fast.
Yeah, typical heavyweight.
Yeah, whether it's a stoppage, he gets stopped or he stops somebody else. It seems like his fights are quick. Uh-huh. So I expect him to come out and be aggressive and come forward, and I just got to use my tools and be patient. Patience is something that doesn't come naturally to me in there. I'm sort of
let's get this over with.
Well, I'm trying to finish all the time. Mm-hmm. So that gets me in trouble where I'm rushing in to try to stop somebody and I get caught, or I'm out of position or something like that, because I'm trying to force the ending.
Yeah.
So over the last few, it's been very humbling in training when they're like, look, you just have to slow down. You have to, you have to be measured and pick your shots better. Don't just bull rush them and try to end it.
Yeah.
Be smart and be patient.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think along with that, we've talked about your cardio before. You could definitely always use that to your advantage, because heavyweights are not known for having cardio. So almost if you just are patient, it's almost going to open up round 2, early round 3, where you're going to be able to do what you want if you just stay patient.
And that's absolutely true. Early when I first started, it was let them try to take you down, or let them take you down. You work to your feet, let them carry your weight.
Yeah.
They're going to get tired.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I mean, that's accurate,
Yeah.
especially as a heavyweight.
Yeah.
We have a lot of body mass and it absorbs a lot of oxygen.
Yeah.
So.
The only downside to that is with a heavyweight, it only takes one. It only takes one.
Usually it ends fast.
Yeah, that's the scariest part about heavyweight is this. At any time, it just takes one.
If you're looking down, you might miss it.
Yeah,
and that's a fact.
Yeah. You do not want to blink with heavyweights. That's why everyone loves them, because you don't know it's just one punch is all it takes. So.
Yeah, and the tide turns fast.
So, I mean, do you have anything in particular you're working on in this fight? You have anything that you think you can capitalize in this fight, or you just going to go in there and just fill it out?
Experience. Mm-hmm. I have quite a bit of experience at this point to draw from. Working on being patient, working on my hand speed, my footwork, stand up. Of course, I'm always working. My weaker end of the game is wrestling, so I'm working on that. Daily. I think that I can capitalize on primarily experience. Understanding where I'm at in the cage and my distance and the space of it, and knowing when I can land the effective shots, and I'm going to definitely go back to making sure I'm cutting the cage off, making sure I'm stopping him in front of me, making sure that I'm controlling the distance and the direction of he's taking, so I can just capitalize on what I'm good at.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's when you get someone who's had like as many fights as you had and the fight IQ that you have, it's a lot of these times, when I talk to fighters, they just want to go in there and they just say, I'm just going to see what happens in there, and they don't have that game plan of, well, I'm going to cut off the cage, I'm going to do these types of things. At what point in your career did you get to that point where you thought, you know what, these are the things I need to work on, because this is how you win the fight, instead of saying, well, we'll just see where the fight takes me?
If you don't have a plan going in, the only thing you have is a prayer.
Yeah.
So, and Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, and that's true. But how much can you compose yourself when you're under fire?
Yeah.
And think through it, and it's split seconds that you have to move, or head movement, throw that punch, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But like we were talking about prior, making sure that we're drilling the things that we think that they're going to do, so that when those instances happen, it's a reaction and not a thought.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking about throwing across, you're late.
Yeah.
You missed it.
Yeah.
So it just, you have to really be in that flow state and making sure that it's all coming together. But I think I'm more of a tactician just by nature. Mm-hmm. I always prefer to be in the gym when I'm learning.
Yeah.
Because if I just want to get cardio, I can run.
Yeah.
Or I can go for a hike or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, this has a purpose, and it makes it. I hate to run. Just for the record. So it's not a monotonous drilling of the feet on the pavement.
Yeah.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
And, I've told people that I've coached in the gym and things like that, this skill that you're learning, you keep forever.
Yeah.
You keep it forever.
Yeah.
So being a tactician and understanding the body mechanics of it and things like that, there's no substitute.
Yeah. I love what you just said. It's a reaction, not a thought. And because of that Mike Tyson quote, it is so true. But the problem with that is people don't understand that you can make a let's see how do I want to word this. So you take like someone who's like a wrestler. It's not a natural reaction to when I get hit to take a shot on somebody, unless that is what I've drilled and that is what I have made a part of who I am. So you have these wrestlers that come in and take a fight and they get punched in the face, and the first thing they do is they shoot on them. So yeah, it's not their plan, but that's their reaction. So if you continually drill yourself to, when you get hit in the face, this is what you do. If you're a counterpuncher, someone throws a punch, you throw a punch right back. Because naturally, as humans, what our real reaction is to block it or get out of the way of it. So when people say, well, I don't really have a plan, because, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That is true, but also, what is your reaction? What have you trained your reaction to be to that?
Drillers are killers.
Yep.
There's no substitute. And, me and you have trained, and I'm big on partner drills and things like that, especially in kickboxing and having some body contact and some things like that. So you understand what your reaction is going to be. Yeah. And we can try to adjust it and improve on it.
Yeah. So that's the right type of mindset, and I just that whenever I hear that quote, I'm always like, yeah, it's true, but it also drives me nuts because when people are just like, well, but once I get hit, my plan goes out the window. Well, if you have set into place your plan long time before that, and it's no longer a plan, it's just your reaction, well then, yeah, you're going to get hit in the face and you're going to go to the right type of reaction instead of curl up and cover your face, because that's the natural human reaction unless you've replaced it with something else.
Yeah. Can you keep your composure? Yeah. Can you keep your head up so you can see the guy? Can you move your feet? Can you take yourself out of danger? Yeah. Regroup and go again.
Yeah.
There's got to be, like I said, you can't skip the steps in the process.
Yep. So this is like your 100th fight with Still Fist, I feel.
Not quite.
We always want to find out, like, how's the promotion doing? What can we do better? How do you enjoy it? Like, let us know. I've
had really good interactions with Kevin and Pat. I feel like we talked about this a little bit. I feel like when you get even to a pro level where we're at right now, you're kind of always arguing about some money and some things like that. And I think that's normal because, it's got to make sense for them to do it. Otherwise, why would they do it?
Yeah.
But I 100% think I've always gotten a fair shake with them. I've always been kept in the know on what's going on with opponents, and if there's a problem, I feel like if the guy's got a hangnail, typically I know.
Yeah.
So, I can prepare myself and my team for what's going on, and it's. It's always been a fair shake.
Yeah.
And there's some other things that I don't think people realize. You get hurt, there's insurance to deal with and things like that. And I've been hurt.
Yeah.
So I've used the insurance and things like that. I just think that, especially when you're young, you're just going to run in and do whatever.
Yeah.
And Fabio's told me this. He said, you'll take a fight with anybody. You don't care. But it has to make some kind of sense to do it, and not that I'm, ever going to get rich from doing this. I'm at the tail end of this thing, but, I think that there's just always a good working relationship with me and them.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, good. I'm glad. We love to hear that. I love to hear that.
They tell me every time I fight, both of them. They always say, "Hey, we're just big fans of Eric, and we like to see him fight." So it means a lot.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Pat is the biggest heavyweight fan of all time. Yeah. He wants to have super heavyweight fights. The heavier you are, the better.
Well, I think they're having a super heavyweight title on the 28th. I think I saw.
Oh, I believe so. I'll have to recheck that, but I know that they've been talking about it. So yeah, they when you talk about pay, here's the bottom line: if we shut down every other organization in Utah, then all the money's coming to us, and we can pay you more. So, if you stop fighting for other people, only fight for Still Fist, then we can pay you more.
Well, I definitely like the organization that they bring. They've done fights. They've done more fights than anybody in Utah by a lot. So they have their process dialed in. They know what it takes. They know the ins and outs, and you're never wondering, well, when am I up? What corner am I in? Where am I going? You know, and it's always on the up and up.
Yeah, it's always been an impressive show, and that's one of the reasons I reached out to him and said, hey, can I work with you guys rather than, because I've always liked what they've done, and now that I'm a part of it, I love hearing what everyone has to say about it, and it's always been positive. So, as long as we keep doing what we're doing, we'll get where we want to go. So now we're at the point of the show where we do a little bit of trash talking. Now, I gotta say ahead of time, I know you're a very respectful guy. I'm sure Mike's a very respectful guy. Trash talking is a part of the game, unfortunately, but it always seems so fake and so manufactured. So I go to the fakest, worst manufactured insult generator on the internet. And all you do is press a button, and it insults your it generates your insult for you. And so the way that most people do it is they'll say, on June 28th, I'm going to beat Mike Robinson because and it comes up with 4 words. And you say the 4 words, and then that's it. It's as simple as that. So all you got to do is hit the red button on there, and it will insult. And it's stupid. So you hit the red button that says generate insult, so it'll come with 4 new ones. And if it's so bad, you can press it again. But
so it says, on June 28th, Mike Robinson, what are you waiting for?
Wait, what?
That's what it says.
Hold on. No. So see these 4 up here at the top? The 4 up to
the icons.
Yeah,
all right, let's try it again.
Yeah.
Whoa, this one's brutal. All right. June 28th, Mike Robinson, thigh bone stealing cork inhaler.
See, that's why it's so bad, but I love it. So if Mike really gets offended by you calling him a thigh bone stealing cork inhaler, what does that even mean, a cork inhaler? All right, so
I feel like that's bad.
That's bad. Let's do another one. That one's
Well, I don't know what a cork inhaler is either, but since I've never heard of it, I feel like it's awful.
Yeah, that one's a little better.
Okay. June 28th, Mike Robinson, you doodle hunting scum grabber.
There we go. That's a little better.
That's hurtful.
That is hurtful. Mike, you got to come on the show, give a little rebuttal. Let Eric know what you think about him. Man, I'm sure you have sponsors. You got sponsors you want to thank?
I've got a few. You want to thank? I'm so blessed with the people that are outside of the gym that help me do this. I got John Hill. He's always helping me get tickets. I usually do shirts. He's making sure everybody's getting what they need and what they want and promoting it for me. Ed Oden usually handles my sponsorships. He kind of gets them together, puts the money together, makes sure that, again, they have what they need. I've got Boyer Wealth Management, Primal Gene. I've got Utah Bobcat, Chevaliers, Collision Zone. I'm definitely very blessed when it comes to the support I get from outside. It's like we talked about. It's what keeps me doing it or being able to do it.
Yeah.
Because when it's all said and done, if we're not selling tickets, we're not fighting, because there's no fight to have. So it's very gratifying for sure.
All right. Well, everybody, come out June 28th. Watch Eric Iman go out as the heavyweight king silverback. My man. You can check out this podcast on iHeart. Let's see. I got to remember all these things. I don't write them down, so then I have to remember it at the end of the show. iHeartRadio, iTunes, and YouTube. You can find Undefeated by Choice podcast. You can find Stillfist on Instagram at Stillfist Fights and on Facebook at Stillfist Fight Night. Eric, thank you for being on the show, man. Good luck. Stay healthy.
Yeah, June 28th. I say it all the time. I'm coming home with my shielder on it. There's no other way. So, if you've never seen me fight, I'm not going the distance.
No.
We're gonna get it and we're gonna do the work. So it's always exciting when lose or draw, and I'm glad that I could be part of it.
I've not seen a boring fight with you, man. You go out there and you swing leather, and I love it, man. It's exciting to watch. So come out, support him. If you want to buy tickets, you can get tickets at stillfistfight.com, or just find Eric, buy tickets from him.
Yeah, Facebook, message me. We'll make sure you get some. I appreciate the love.
Yep. Anytime you buy tickets from a fighter, it supports the fighter specifically. So if you support Eric, get your tickets from Eric. Everybody else, be good yourself, be good to each other. I love you.